Welcome to Scene, where the art world meets the real world. Every 2 weeks, we sit down with emerging and established artists to offer a genuine glimpse into their lives and minds, all in an authentic and totally straightforward manner. I'm Carrie Scott, your host. And with 2 decades of experience as a curator and art historian, I firmly believe in the transformative power of art, if it's seen. Have you seen Jade Vandermark's work? It's dynamic. And chatting with her was like diving into a colorful city. Her paintings capture the hustle and bustle of urban life, and she embodies this too. She paints vibrant, expressive figures that move through these lively cityscapes. But there's also an underlying story that's unfolding right before your eyes. And that's because I think her story is evolving right before our eyes. Have a listen. I think this girl's going places. So hi.
Hi.
I know that you just said that you don't love doing these, but I'm so glad you're here and you're moving tomorrow to Paris.
Yes.
So it's even a bigger ask that you've taken sort of half an hour to chat to us, and I really appreciate it.
I'm actually in the middle of it because, to be honest, I made a whole setup here. In my surrounding here, there are all boxes because I'm moving in half an hour. The transport is coming and they bring all the stuff to Paris. So I'm very happy that I have the time now and to do this nice interview with you. So thank you for that. And what I said before, actually, before we came into this, is that I am not the best speaker, I'm honest. I always looking for words to talk about my work. Because in my opinion, like my colors and also my brushstrokes, right? Everything what I put on the canvas are my words. So for me, it's always a kind of battlefield to find the right words about my work. And I also think that when you are talking too much about your work, and you need to explain it all the time, you're also ruining the spiritual world, the spiritual frequency around the work, right? So that's why just an honest introduction, this is not my best thing to do, no. But I love it to try, and I think we as people always have to find a challenge and to develop yourself and start fighting against maybe against the things you don't like. So try. Yeah.
Your work kind of has an element of that, right? That there's not the battlefield part, but I think you're speaking about so much in your compositions. Yeah. You're drawing on your kind of love of fashion, but also commenting on fashion, maybe. So can we talk about what you think you're doing in your work?
Yeah, I think especially if you talk about the focus towards fashion, it's like nowadays we have all these role models like Kim Kardashian, Cardi B, and we also have the Balenciaga and the Louis Vuitton. And to be honest, these brands and these personalities are having a very big impact on us nowadays. It's shaping our identity. So, because we are having this kind of brainwashing, I think it's so important to show my audience what's happening nowadays, to confront them, to put a mirror in front of them, because it's taking us away from actually nature. I try to explain it in a good way. I am raised, of course, in Bergen, that's in the north of the Netherlands, close to nature. And when I was a child, I was learned to speak with birds and to learn about plants because I was growing up on a farm. And this made me who I am today. It's my core, it's my base, it's my foundation. And then at a certain point, when I went to the city and I found out all this media and this brands which are pushing all this materialistic stuff on us. I was like, wow. And every day it became more and more, and every year it becomes more and more and faster. Also because of social media, and we see like hundreds of images of all these influencers and brands and stuff next to hundreds of images of killed babies. It's so confusing, and I think if we want to stay true to our human value, we need to understand that. We need to go back to our core instead of bombing ourselves with all this unrealistic stuff. So this is one of the reasons why I am painting that. But it's not only about that. It's also, I'm painting also about the overconsumption, but also overpopulation, but also the behaviors towards each other. For example, I'm going quite a lot. I'm walking into the cities. I was here for 4 years in London, of course, and I was taking like maybe a few hours to stare underneath the escalator and just to check how the behavior is towards each other and how we bump into each other, and that we don't say anything, just, oh, sorry, like robots. And because of my childhood and because of that foundation, I was noticing this because it's not my background. And then I was like, yes, I have to tell this story. And that's what I'm doing. So for me, like every culture, it can be like a Chinese person, it can be a black person, it can be a white person. Everybody, I need to paint everybody in color because every person which I see is matter to me. Like it's very important that I have their roles on my canvas. So I make my own stories, but also stories about like what I see. I'm just painting the zeitgeist. That's what I'm doing. And that's just by observing. And the funny thing is that most of the time when I'm walking on the streets or I am at art openings or stuff, people don't think I'm an artist. I don't know why. Maybe because of the blonde hair, but I don't know. So actually, in the beginning, I had a very difficult relationship with this because I always was thinking, oh, hopefully someone is taking me seriously, because what is here inside is such a deep thing, right? It's who I am, and my works are so vulnerable because I am vulnerable. It's the best gift God gave me. But at the same time, I was thinking, like, how can I find a way in this that people are judging me in a way, but at the same time that I am able to speak up for myself and to bring my work to the attention. So this was a big battle for me during my whole time also in London. So I came in at, for example, a fair somewhere, Fries. And I'm always very shy. I'm not looking like it, but I'm shy. So I'm standing there and I saw the big guys. And I was like, okay, I really want to know something about that work, but I was so afraid to go into the booth. This is an example. And then after an hour, I was thinking like, okay, let's see what I can do with my, like the way I look. So I went back home. I changed my clothing and I put a dress on. And then I went back to the booth and I was like, yeah, I'm very interested in this work. Can you tell me a bit more about it? And this person told me the whole story about this artist. So that was the first sign that I can change my outside in a different perspective where I can blend in every situation to understand that world more. So this is what I'm doing all the time. I'm also, for example, going like on the streets and talking for hours with homeless people who are laying there the whole day. And their perspective about the world is totally different than us. So I can learn from them. And yeah, so all this together, I'm using all these aspects to create work. And I can tell you, it's the best gift there is. It's the most beautiful, honest thing there is. And when I'm saying, I'm almost like, it's such a beautiful thing. Yeah. So in that sense, I will do this until I die. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There's about 20 different things that I like desperately.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, I like had goosebumps kind of halfway through that because something that was clear to me and came across just on the internet, right? Like I saw your work first on Instagram, and there was this thing about representation. It felt like you were like, representation matters, not just of me, like not just of people that look like me, but of everybody. And so I
Yeah.
saw that in the work straight away, and you just mentioned it. But I think you've also
Yeah.
raised something that not many people talk about, right? And I've experienced this my whole life. I'm 44 years old, and
Yeah.
finally people are starting to be like, oh, right, she's she's legit, or she's serious. And I don't know what that is, or what that shift is.
Yeah.
I'm guessing some of it is age, but I don't think that
Yeah.
that people who, are necessarily like looked at as being like pretty girls, we kind of get disregarded as just, whatever. And that's not to say that I think I'm some sort of gorgeous person, but more that we don't like.
You are. You are.
Thank you. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that women don't get taken seriously, no matter what, right?
No.
Um,
No.
and that's frustrating. And in the art world, right? I can imagine that people have looked at you and been like, oh, it's just a pretty girl. And I bet you she's going to be like a gallery girl who sits at the front desk
Yes.
and
Definitely.
ignores us or is bitchy.
Yeah.
So I think I hadn't stopped to think about, like, I thought kind of a wider representation was present in your work, but I also think that there's a like writing of yourself into those pieces.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And it's also good that I went through it because it made me so strong. If you look to the very big like artists, like for example Marina, of course you also did the interview with her, or other like Marlene Dumas from the Netherlands. She's not originally from the Netherlands, but but like all these ladies became almost big rocks. They are standing there, and their representation is so strong, And I think that we as women in these times need to be strong, with everything what's happening, but also it shaped them, and that's also for me. It will shape me. I have to conquer this, and I think something which was really helpful was like, I am a bit of a control freak sometimes in my work and my career and strategies and stuff. Sometimes I'm becoming crazy of it. But before I came to London, I worked for 3 years behind a desk. Just a desk. And I was sitting there, and it was the Tommy Hilfiger company. And I was like, okay, I want to work with people, because if I'm there, I can sketch the people, and because I'm sketching a lot. And so I was there 3 years in this fashion scene, and I saw everybody coming inside, from a CO to a cleaner, doesn't matter, but I was sketching all the time these people. And this also gave me the time to pay my deposit, for example, to earn money to pay my deposit in London. So there was a whole preparation for this art scene, and also to stay in London. So I was working there for 3 years. Beside that, I was always painting when I got home. So it was very intense. But beside that, I was behind this desk. And when it was like quiet, I was on the internet checking all these documentaries about the art scene. Like, I saw all the conversations. Also the artist guide, the artist guide to bank. I saw like all the conversations with Kenny, with Hans Ulbricht, like all this stuff, because I wanted to understand because at that time I didn't know. I was like, okay, I have to go to London. The first thing I know is that I have to leave the Netherlands because I want to grow internationally and I want to embrace new cultures and new cities. But I also had to do this research to understand the art scene more. So that helped me a lot. So mostly of the time, I can remember that the first time when I came into London and I went to Pippi Houseworth Gallery, it was the first one, And I was standing there and I saw some people and I was like, oh, I know you from the documentary, but I'm, so this was all the start. And with all this knowledge and all this like challenges, you become strong. So it's okay. And also back in the days at school, they also said to me, like, you're an artist? Okay, and I was like, yes, I was always proud to say that I was an artist, but I knew it from the inside because I believe that you're born as an artist. And it sounds maybe strange, but it's not, of course, you can learn skills on schools and you can learn how the history of art, which is also very important. But I think I can speak for myself. When I saw the lights, I was the artist. And that's how you look to life, and you immediately find out that you're thinking in a different way. And so I think that I actually art chose me, and I was not choosing like the art. I already knew that I wanted to go to art school. So yeah, that's yeah.
I think you are absolutely right. And that so often we forget, that
Yeah.
artists, that art isn't the easy choice, right?
No.
Like there are so many other things that you could do where you could get ahead faster, you could make money faster, all the things, but that for artists, art is usually like it's like, oh God, I have to do this. I cannot do anything else.
No.
No. And I do think we kind of culturally forget that, and don't reward that. Like we don't reward the kind of, not the struggle, but the sacrifices that artists make. Like I love hearing that you were working a desk job, doing all this research in the background into the art world. I also love
I have many stories I could tell you, but we cannot push it in like this is a conversation. But there are so many stuff. But it's a beautiful journey, and I really, really enjoy that. So,
but I also love that your description of going into an art fair and feeling like, can't talk to them, but that you're happy to go and speak to a homeless person, like that a homeless person was less intimidating, and that in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is. It is because it's more. I don't want to like judge this art scene, but I think they are more human in a sense. And I have to say, I also know a lot of nice people in the art scene, people who helped me. And there is one, a big collector, who gave me the opportunity to be like where I am today. So there are also like a few good like real people who gave me the opportunity to do what I do today. So they are also there. But to find your way in the first few years as an artist, and you go to the fairs, because you don't have to go to the fairs, of course. You can also like stay in your studio and do it through Instagram, which sounds amazing. But because I am painting about people, I have to go out and I have to see it. And and now when the last time when I went to Freeze, I was already a bit more comfortable, I think, and I knew already a few more people, so it felt better. But yeah, we need each other, right? So they need artists and we need them. So it's it's a battle, but it's also it can be a beautiful togetherness. So yeah.
Can we talk about why you're leaving London?
Yes. I stayed here for 4 years, of course. And I think also because it's a very logical thing, it's not a very interesting thing. At the same time, like when I was here, it was a beautiful experience, and I learned a lot. I went to all the museums, of course. I met a lot of people, and I had a very, very nice studio, and I enjoyed my studio time. I miss it now, but because of the Brexit, that changed a lot. Also with the imports, exports, and also I saw many art families and art people I know moved. They moved to the country. Also because there is a lot going on in Paris at the moment. And also you have the Paris, the Basel Paris, of course. So I think that many people are also coming back in the city of Paris. And beside that, I think because I want to do more with fashion brands, I'm working on something which can be very exciting. And that's to do a collaboration with a big brand. So I would love to get more involved into the fashion scene up there. And I have some opportunities there. So that's also one of the reasons I'm going to Paris. And then it starts all over again, because then I put myself into the fashion scene, right? And yeah, so this is actually, here it was the art fair, and now in Paris it's the fashion scene. And I am looking forward to that. And I think also as an artist, it's very important to change sometimes your environment, to change the cultures. So I think for the upcoming years, I would love to travel around. And so I'm also going for 1 month to Hong Kong to see the culture there. I think like last year, 1.5 year, I stayed for 3 months in Umbria in Italy. So I'm always trying to change my environment to get to understand people more and to understand every culture. So that's also why I am doing it, and I am very looking forward to it. Yeah.
Do you think about your work as being portraiture?
Like, you mean like that I paint people when they're sitting in front of me? Like, you mean in that sense, or?
Oh, I'm guessing you don't do that, but more, are they portraits?
No, they are not. Actually, I have to say it's a combination of. Sometimes I am and this sounds strange, but sometimes I'm on the street, I can see colors. So sometimes I see, this is a nice color in the face, and I order aura, and I take that like in my mind, and I put it on canvas. It can also be a personality or an energy of someone which is very interesting to me or intrigue me, and then I put it also on the canvas. And then in the meantime, I'm also sketching. So it's a combination of everything together, but also people which I am totally have from my fantasy. I constantly talk with and this is from my heart, I'm constantly talk with my people on canvas, because every person I am painting on my work are friends. They are all my friends. I have more friends in my studio than outside, right? So and I have relationships with them in a very personal way, because every time when I'm painting, and every day can be like, is like every day is different, because every day you have a different emotion. I am a stable person, but you're going through things in life. So every emotions you have during these moments and these months, if you start like creating a show, for example, that you put all these emotions in it. So they becoming, people of all these emotions and my best friends. So so it's a conversation with my canvas, a conversation with these people, and I create them just by all these things together. So that's it. And also that's a very important thing for me as well. If I'm talking too much, you have to say it right away. But I have, like, for me, like painting is like the highest spiritual frequency there is. Why? Because in my opinion, like God, I'm a believer. So God made actually the most beautiful art piece there is, right? We cannot surpass that. And that is the world itself. So that God gave me like this opportunity to paint and to create and give me this talent. I really need to have conversations with God when I'm painting. So when I'm painting, I have this spiritual feeling that I exactly know what kind of color I have to use, and it's going organically. So so also like the people can be something God is telling me, which is very beautiful thing. Yeah.
Do you think you have like synesthesia? Do you know what that term is?
Yeah. I heard many people saying that. Maybe. I think so, actually, because I'm also very sensitive and I feel like a lot. And I also know many times, like when people walking on the street, when they're depressive or what is going on. So I think there is a lot going on there, but yeah. And I think also like this painting and everything what I'm doing in my studio by myself is also a way to survive in this sensitivity. Definitely. Yeah.
I think that also is so true. I mean, the gift that I have been given at the moment just to speak to artists, it's becoming more and more clear to me that their practice, and I mean practice, is part of their coping, right? And not to say that like art is their therapy. I think it is for some artists, but more that they use their work to channel something that they have to do. I'm trying to use my words carefully, because what I don't want to do is set it up so that it's like, you know, art makes you feel better or it's therapy. And I think it does that. I mean, Martin Creed says that to me in the beginning of an interview we did years ago. But I think it's interesting.
I think like that we as artists can like inspire, but also mobilize people to bring them back to their core, you know? So if I'm like able to have this honest conversation with my work and to create honest work by myself, like very direct, then I am also able to give this energy, which you see in my work, towards these people who need it. So it's not only for the artist, right, that we need it as a therapy. It's also for other people who are blocked and very thinking about like rational, right? So, and especially nowadays, like with all the pressure and the stress and it's very, very difficult times for many of us, right? So I think, especially nowadays, we need art to overcome that, to open a certain light in our body, in our lives. And I was very shocked, because every time I was, my studio was at the Thames, next to the Tate Modern. And I also always have to cross the bridge there, right? And every morning I was walking there, and I also always try to put my phone away to just enjoy the moment and to see people. And I don't know if you saw it, but there were cards hanging on the bridge with a text on it, like, if you want to jump or you want to think about suicide, please call us. And we as people are on our phones and we like constantly la 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 la, and we are passing by. But this is already a scream of society, right? And I'm so worried about that. So we as artists can do so many things, and we can open up their lives and give them their core back, because it's a spiritual thing, right? So I think that it can be a medicine in both ways, for my audience and for myself. Yes. Yeah.
I do. I think also the ability to make people look, especially right now, is so important. Because we have this strange moment we find ourselves in where these teeny tiny phones expand our view of the world, as in we can see more stuff from all over, but it's shutting down what's in our immediate purview. You know, it's literally blinders, because you're like, what's going on here? But you're not speaking to the person next to you.
No, and it's I always call it like a kind of a new religion, right? We believe what is on our phone and we constantly brainwashed. But you can also sit in the underground and have a talk with someone next to you, or ask someone how is your day, or when there is an old lady standing, that you make the seat free for her to sit down, like little things. And I have many conversations, so I know that this is important. So I hope, like, hopefully for the future, I can lighten up more people with my work and give them another opinion, or that I feel embraced by my work. That's maybe that I give him a certain love with my work. That's very important to me. Yeah, on a human level. Yeah.
Do you have any like really tangible goals for the work? Like, do you want it to end up in a certain place? Is there anything that like you hope happens?
Of course, because I am very, very motivated, very, and I always have like, I also had like one rule in my mind, like I want to do it slowly in little steps because I believe in the long term, not in the short term. So I protect my children, which are my paintings, always in that sense. So I don't want to that like my work is going up like in like very high in a short amount of time. I want to think in a good way, and I have also a good advice for that. So in that sense, I am happy how it goes at the moment. But of course, I have goals. I would love to work with a few galleries, which I have in my mind, and also like after that with the bigger galleries, of course, but not now. I don't know. I think it's not good to say names, but no, but I have yes, of course, I want to make another step into the direction, and also museum. Yeah, definitely. And I would love to work with a fashion brand, um, because hopefully I can. Because nowadays the fashion industry is going very fast, and everything is very like a mass consumption. I think that as an artist, you can bring back the personal aspect of clothing, or the personal connection with art, which can make the fashion brand more spiritual. So I think that I would love to work with a fashion brand to mold this together and make a different type of fashion in that sense. Because my background is of course fashion. I studied fashion and art, but so I would love to do that, to put it in another light, in another direction. So yes, so I would love to do that. So yeah, I think all the typical things which artists want for their careers. But mostly important is that in the end of this, I don't know how long it will take, but maybe in 10 years, I really would love to create something for children. So from like children from heavy backgrounds, and I would love to give them like paint lessons and to build these houses for them. So this is which I'm saying already from when I was 10. You can ask my parents; it's true. So I would love to create that. So this is also one of my goals, to create actually to go into the art scene and take the money from what I get from the art scene because of my work, and then put it back in helping children. That's a bit what I want to do, and I'm definitely going to do that. Yeah, because it's nice. It's nice, and I'm very honored that I can live from my work, because I definitely can. But it's not like the main goal for me. That what do I have to do with all this stuff and money? If if you're becoming a very, very big artist, no. I think it's, for me, a very beautiful thing, and there's a reason why you're becoming successful, and use that to put it back into another direction, and that's for me to help these children. So I'm going to do that. Yes, definitely. Yep.
What's wonderful for me, right, is we've never met, and your work spoke to me enough that I felt, ooh, let's do an interview. But you as a person have resonated as well and as loudly. You know, one of the agendas with scene is social impact, right? I hate that there are so many barriers when going to an art fair, going to a museum. Those environments aren't welcoming, they're not warm, and that's not what the art world is. It is made up of incredible people like you who care deeply about what they're saying, excuse me, and how they're saying it. And so, so this conversation kind of, it gives me buoyancy, it makes me think, see, no, there are people who really care, and art can do so much, like encourage imagination, problem solving. And in the UK, we're busy cutting funding to the arts, People are going to museums less and less and less. And that's kind of a scary moment for me. And so I felt I'm now like, going on and on, but I felt like we needed a platform like Scene to remind
it's amazing.
people
definitely
what we can do. So listen, I'm so aware that you need to go and move.
The transport is coming in half an hour, but it's cool.
Well,
I'm fine.
I'm gonna let you go on that and just say
thank you.
A huge thank you. Please
likewise.
keep me posted on what you're doing. And I'm sure we will see your work in many places soon.
I will fight for it. So thank you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Scene podcast. If you liked what you heard, I'd love it if you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to connect with us between episodes, follow us on Instagram at WatchSceneArt. I'm Carrie Scott, and I'll see you next time. Get it?